Are you ready to learn what red flags keep an eye out for when looking for love?
Then we got you covered. I'm Brianna.
And I'm Alex.
And this is the podcast where we unpack reality TV and call out the bullshit.
So that you show up confidently while dating and in relationships. Welcome to Ditch the Script.
I love it. Hey there, good morning to you.
Good morning to you. Good afternoon. That's right.
Yeah.
Starting off on a real strong foot here.
Yeah, we don't know where we are. Me and my Metamucil are here in attendance.
That's great.
This afternoon, as we always are.
Yeah.
Yes. I have a question.
What's up?
I don't know if this is relevant now, seeing as you're not exactly back on the dating scene, but like when you were dating in the past, would you hide things in your apartment that would suggest pooping happens here?
No. Oh.
Okay.
Why?
Because I've been putting away my Metamucil and storing away my squatty
baby
potty.
wipes. Oh, your squatty potty. I was thinking, it's so funny you brought the squatty potty. I shit you not. I thought of you yesterday when I was shitting, and because I know you have a squatty potty.
Wait, pause. I thought about you while I was shitting. Is such a strong indicator that I'm really proud of everything I've done in our friendship.
There you
Because you feel so close to me.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, full transparency. Oh, here we go. It's another transparent episode. I know you have one, and I've been thinking of getting one for my new spot. And I mean, obviously, like, we're going to be really honest here. The reason I was thinking of you is because the struggle was real in this moment. And I was like, I was like, what could I do right now? Yeah, it was like one of those moments. So I haven't in the past when I was dating. But now that you bring up the squatty potty thing, I don't know if I would feel the need to. A part of me might leave it out just to see how they react. If they're like, hey, I know. Squatty potty, that's what's up.
I have to be honest. Like, I'm being #transparent about this, but I actually don't think that people should model this behavior, because I think what I'm engaging in is harmful to me as a person who should be allowed to engage in regular fucking human people things. The fact that I am feeling bad about the strong evidence that I need as much support with my digestive system as possible, and I'm making that a thing that I feel like I need to hide, is the problem. It's not the problem of someone coming to my house and being aware of these things. Yes, if their response is, so you got a squatty potty, and they're really weird about it, okay, I should ask them to leave immediately.
For real. Or if they pick on you for having it out. Because, like, I know some folks who are, like, anal about, like, beautiful house, like, nothing on the counters, nothing in the public spaces, like, clean it all up. And it's like, if that's the vibe and you're going to go take a dump in my bathroom as a guest in my house, and you're going to be offended that I have a squatty potty to help you in your bowel movement, that's a reflection of you and your ironically, anal retentive tendencies on keeping your house clean. Like,
and if
that's
I'm
not
honest,
the vibe for me.
I agree. What I've learned is that people actually prefer to go into someone's home and see, and it feels that someone lives there.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Of course, people don't want to walk into an absolute, like, disaster.
Yeah.
But things are too pristine, too clean, too everything. Like, maybe that's appealing to some groups of people, but otherwise it's like, it feels a little starchy.
I'm so with you, because then you feel like you're in a museum. Like, I can't touch anything because if it breaks, I buy it type vibe. And like that, actually, I'm going to have to sit with that, because that feels very familiar. Like that vibe of like, like, you know?
Yeah.
Like, don't touch anything. Don't breathe too much. You're going to fuck up the air smell. Like,
I'm glad that you're validating for me that this is something that I actually shouldn't be hiding. I'm going to challenge myself to not be so weirdly insecure about that and worried and leave it out, especially my squatty potty. We all shit. And I've been thinking about I'm thinking about getting a squatty potty for my guest bathroom because I want people to have the assistance. It's literally a courtesy.
You're preventing anal fissures and hemorrhoids.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are doing a greater good, a service.
Shout out to my friend Becca Joe. She sent me my squatty potty.
Becca Joe.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the MVP gift of the year.
100%. 100%. And she sent it to me and she said, I bought this for you because I knew that you were never going to buy it for yourself. And she was right. And then my life is forever changed because of her. I love it. Yes. And like, you know what? I need to fix my energy around this, and that's my intention. So thank you.
I'm excited. Yeah, no, yeah. I don't know. I'm really comfortable talking about my poops with people I've dated. I don't have an issue with that. And people at work, honestly. We actually were talking about poops the other day, and we all were collectively agreeing, like, I'm glad we're this comfortable with each other. So I feel like I'm with you. Like, let's start a movement around embracing our normal lives and not hiding things that we use every day to make things easier. Like, why? Yeah. If we lost you in this conversation and you feel a little bit fatigued and upset with us instead of seen, that's okay. I think I'm okay. That's okay. That. Yeah. You probably have healthier bowel movements than Bri or myself.
We have to talk about it a lot because it is problematic.
Because we have had hemorrhoids and
still have.
Full transparency.
Yeah. That's another podcast. That Alex and I could start. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that wasn't planned in our intro, but
we should start another. We should start another podcast called "Let That Shit Go" and talk about. Let's do it. Oh my god! With what time?
God.
Maybe we should have
literally, bitch.
Maybe we should have a segment of our show called "Let That Shit Go." Maybe that'll be the future, and we'll talk about it in all the ways. Yeah,
I love
all different kinds of shit, literal shit, dating shit.
You know what's so funny is that we'll get on like a DTS business call, you and I, and we're like so fatigued between our life's responsibilities. It's like the ideas are like, okay, that's a good place to start. I'm gonna have to think about that. I'm gonna have to sit with that. And I'm gonna have to get back to you. But when we get on and we're recording, like it's flowing. It's flowing.
It's because we don't intend to be creative, and then our creative mind is like, it feels free to speak up. But when we're like, okay, we're on this call to like figure our shit out, our creative mind is like, that's too overwhelming. Bye bye.
I think that's exactly what happens in my. That's
what happens for me when I create content. I'm like that. Like if I sit down and I'm like, today is content creation day, my brain's like, F you. And then all of a sudden it's 9:00 and I'm in bed and it's like, piece of content, caption writing, like yes, and like I type that shit out real quick. Yeah,
good for
it's
you.
Interesting. I mean, I wish it would happen in my workday though, but whatever.
Well, we have to schedule so much around stuff that should come organically.
Yeah, but I'm also trying to give myself permission. Yeah, I'm trying to give myself permission to like not care when it comes. It's like when the creative download comes, just go with it. Don't work against it, because like. For a while, I would 100%. Be like, it's 9, you're in bed, stop writing. But it's like, if that's naturally how it happens for me, let's just go with the flow. Okay.
Yeah, honor it, get it out, and then move on with your PM routine.
Hopefully that resonates with whatever you are going through, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's move on to some valuable stuff.
Okay.
Some valuable shit.
As in the Bachelorette series. Okay, so Alex and I have been watching some of the recent Bachelorette season episodes in preparation, particularly for Bachelor in Paradise, which we will be covering on this show. I want to be super clear. We are not covering the Bachelorette right now. That would be insane.
We're too far gone. We're past hometowns.
We're too far gone. We're past hometowns. I'm in fantasy sweet world right now.
Oh my God, I'm not there yet. I
know. I'm not going to spoil it for you. So Alex doesn't even listen to the Men Tell All on this season, which was not that exciting. It wasn't that exciting.
I haven't been super excited by the guys on this series like at all. Like I don't like anybody yet.
We didn't really get to know them very well. That's sort of the problem. Everything moved really quickly because they went from sharing the same amount of people to, so backstory. This season has 2 bachelorettes and they have
Dun, dun,
just a
dun.
little more men than they typically have. So don't they typically have somewhere between like 28
30.
and 30? And then they had like 35, which really, like, it would have been way too many men, but there should have been more men because there were 2 bachelorettes.
I think it should have been 40 minimum, 20 each.
Yeah. And then things like all of the guys were getting to know both of the bachelorettes, and then they organically sort of came to this decision that they wanted to start offering roses to specific people. And if you were accepting the rose, you were accepting it for that bachelorette. And I know that you missed these episodes because Hulu took them down.
But I came in right after when Logan was all, I don't want your rose, Rachel. I want Gabby's rose. So I'm going to go there. Yeah. That was the first episode I watched.
Yes.
And I don't...
Yes.
I feel bad for Logan because the episode I'm on right now, I'm actually at Hometowns, but he did just come down with COVID. What I've seen so far from him, I'm not the biggest fan, but I've also only seen like an episode or 2 of him.
It's tricky. We really didn't get to see too much, and there wasn't like, you know how there's usually like typical like crazy drama where someone points a villain out. Well, first of all, the villain is made by production. Totally. But also they tend to find someone that's like, you're not here for the right reasons. And everyone spends a lot of energy focusing on that.
Right. Or someone's like manipulative. Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't have time.
It didn't happen that much. No.
Yeah.
It happened so quickly because they had to whittle everyone down. They all of a sudden, both bachelorettes had like mid-season numbers at like episode 4 or 5.
Wait, what is mid-season number? It must have happened episode 4. What do you mean mid-season number?
Mid-season numbers to me means like the small group whittling down before Hometowns.
Oh, gotcha.
That happened really early on in the series.
Yeah.
Because they split it up.
Yeah, and I also, because what I will say, like, just watching, I'm at, like, let's literally pause on my TV right now.
Me too!
Look at us! High five. Pop.
Virtual.
There we go. We also have rings on. We're, like, so twinnies.
Oh my God. Twin flame.
Yeah, obviously, since the age of 11, that is not a surprise at all. Okay, but everything, I feel you on the moving too fast because it's like she has a one-on-one and then, or like Rachel has a one-on-one, Gabby has a one-on-one, Gabby has a hometown, Rachel has a hometown. And so it's like we get 5 minutes of that entire night. Whereas when it is traditionally just one bachelor or bachelorette, you get to see way more of that date, way more of that hometown, way more of whatever. And so that would make sense for like why I'm not feeling anyone yet, because I haven't gotten any depth. Like I think I sent this to you in my voice note the other day. Like watching this has been the most uncomfortable season I've watched so far. I'm glad you're in agreement because like usually I'm really bought into it, at least to the degree of like I like the Bachelorette or the Bachelor, and like I'm really invested in like who they choose, and I love to watch like the things develop. And this time I'm watching and I'm like, can we please have some depth? Like it feels so high schooly to me this season. And it's rubbing me the wrong way. So I don't know.
What have been one of your specific contentions with this season of what you've been able to see so far?
Well, we didn't talk about this before we hit record. I do want the backstory on Rachel.
Okay.
But I missed that. But I haven't really loved the way she's handled the few things I've seen so far. And then with Gabby, like she seems, I hate saying this, but I prefer her out of the 2 girls if we're gonna be like that. Okay. But even with Gabby, it's like it's very fun and flirty, but I haven't seen any of the like, you know, more in-depth conversations of like the stuff that I would ask. But that's the thing is like, I can't project what I would do onto her either. So it just, I think that's why it feels so uncomfortable is like, I'm sitting here watching this from a completely different lens of how I would want to suss these guys out. But she's her own person dating these guys. So I think part of my struggle is that. And then part of it is probably coming in halfway because I didn't get to see any of like the initial conversations or like really how any of the guys, you know, interact with each other, which for me is huge. Cause like, I think I think watching people interact with, in these scenarios, the people who are in the house interacting with the people who are in the house sheds so much light on character. So I'm missing that. But yeah, it feels very surface level to me right now. So I'm going to keep waiting. Hopefully post hometowns, I get to see more in depth, like real life relationship talk, we'll see. But
I don't think you're going to be super happy.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think you're going to be super happy. But I want to give you a little bit of the backstory of like, cause you're catching the season where they've like already gone to Europe. They're like in Paris.
Yeah, in Netherlands.
Like, European excursion.
I didn't even see Paris. Okay. I saw the Netherlands.
Oh,
the tulips.
So before they go to Europe, I think this is like 2 episodes beforehand, but they decide they're like, we need to sort of separate our journeys, which basically means that while they were still in Los Angeles, they needed to make sure that the people that they were getting to know were only going to be agreeing to get to know that one bachelorette instead of both. They wanted people to sort of make up their minds. They wanted to have more clarity on where their relationship stood with some of these guys. So that was quite early on. And there's this like this infamous rose ceremony in this season where Gabby is offering a rose. They accept it. Rachel offers a rose. He says, I'm actually here and focused on Gabby. So that person goes back into the mix, and unless they get a rose from Gabby, they're gone, right? So then Gabby gives another rose, accepted. Rachel gives another rose, denied. I'm here for Gabby. This happens like 3 or 4 more times. And I think it's one of these moments in Rachel's journey, from my perspective, which is entirely informed by a party of a subjective
Brianna.
Party of one. Yep. That
subjective party of Brianna. I love subjective party of Alex. That's basically what I was saying a second ago about like, this is how I would do it.
Yeah, literally. So from my perspective is that rose ceremony was the absolute like kink in Rachel's self-esteem in this process. I've listened to some other Bachelor Nation type of content, like reacting to a lot of the season. And the feeling is like, her confidence is just shit in this moment, in this season. And I both understand why. And also I'm like, come on, girl, like, let's pull it together. I think that the consensus is people feel like she's trying to be a very specific kind of bachelorette. Like she wants to be revered and she wants to do a really good job. But the best job that you can do is to like be yourself and fucking take care of your shit.
Imagine that.
With what you got.
Imagine that. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks for the backstory. That's really painful. A part of me is like, I could understand how that's painful. But at the same time, like,
it's a lot of rejection.
Yeah, it's a lot of rejection back to back on national television. The other thing is at the same time, there's a part of me that's like, but I'm also glad because I'd rather you tell me no than tell me yes and play me just to be on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, poor girl. I didn't get to see that, but I'm curious to know your thoughts on like the comparison between the Rachel Trisha, like from Love Island, like, cause she kept getting in the bottom. So do you feel
Tasha?
Yeah, Trisha. Oh my God, it's been 3 weeks and I already forgot her name.
I was like, Tasha.
Thank you. Jesus.
What comparisons are you feeling like how, like what those moments, like how they're experienced by the person and what it does to their self-esteem?
Well, I'm curious to know how you felt like do you feel that Tasha being in the bottom on Love Island and taking that blow to her confidence was similar, for better, for worse, handled better, worse, versus Rachel? Like, I'm just curious to know.
Well, what's interesting about Love Island is that you're getting video footage of them every day. Whereas on The Bachelor, it's so much is lost in cuts and edits, because I think that editing chose to show Rachel's most vulnerable and emotional moments, which I think aids to painting this picture of a sensitive person that can't handle rejection. Gotcha. And I actually don't think that that's fair. I think that that's a storyline that they played into
Yeah.
And like, but at the same time, what I did also hear in her processing, and I wonder if this stayed true for her as days passed, I saw a lot of group dates get suffered because of how she was handling all of these
Ooh.
experiences of rejection. And
Mm.
that's where I feel like, Rachel, like, you're taking all of this very personally. And I understand why. But it was giving me this feeling of like, if we had been talking about it on the podcast, what we would have probably made a mention of is like, when we experience rejection while we're dating, it's not that it's not personal, because there is a bit of it that's like, yeah, what I'm looking for doesn't feel like it fits you, and I don't want to waste your time. So I got to get out. And unfortunately, I have to give you this bad news, and you're going to take it however you want to take it, and you can react. But it's not actually about all of us. And when we experience rejection, we feel that all of us is being rejected. That's not actually what's happening, but it's so hard. You have to really be committed to sitting with yourself to tear that apart and allow your ego to be separate from your understanding of the entire experience.
Yes.
And I don't know if everyone's prepared to do that.
No, but I think that that's a really good way of keeping ourselves in check, because like there's a difference between feeling your feelings, taking responsibility for your feelings, allowing yourself to process, and allowing your feelings to now impact everybody else, whether it's a form of punishment, attention getting, reassurance getting. And that's where it gets icky to me. Is it's like, if we're going to stay in this woe is me place as a means to then feel better about ourselves because now other people feel the need to come validate, reassure, or state whatever it is we're seeking, that is where it's low-key manipulative at that point, right? Like the crocodile tears saying is a saying for that reason, because we see it in children. And it's like, you know, I do agree with that, where it's like with Tasha on Love Island, she cried, but she like went off on her own to cry, and she didn't sob as a means to punish others or make others tell her how beautiful and wonderful and amazing she is, right? So it's like, if I'm picking up what you're putting it down, it sounds like, you know, Rachel struggles to fully process on her own and take ownership of those, whereas it gets leaky energy into the group dates. Am I hearing you right?
I wonder what a time spent truly by herself without cameras looked like. But I think that she was just reacting raw with her emotion, which she had every right to do so, because it was like clearly painful for her. But yeah, what she also missed out on was the very limited time that she had with some of these other guys, because she kind of couldn't fucking get it into gear.
Ooh, a little sabotagey.
Yeah, and like, I don't
Poor
think
thing.
I think she was trying to punish the group for the fact that she felt slighted in certain ways.
Oh,
And it was like,
not the vibe.
You're punishing yourself.
Yeah, in the long run.
Yeah. So what's also interesting is that for that whole experience, I mean, Gabby is experiencing a bit less of rejection, and through her experiences dating and getting to know other guys, we see her get vulnerable and sort of repeat the information that sort of is the stuff that she carries, or a little bit of it at least, which is that she has no contact with her mother. Her mom is not a naturally nurturing and like unconditional loving parent. And so that has always been really difficult for her. She's always struggled with feeling totally lovable because of this relationship with her mom. She has an incredible amount of insight to see how that affects her, but you can see in moments of stress and her own experiences of rejection, she is sort of right back in that place of her trauma response of like, oh, I am not lovable, right?
Yeah, this is why I talk about trauma work all the time, because that's exactly how it's going to rear its ugly head. It's like, rejection is rejection. Rejection is neutral. Conflict is neutral. Do they impact us? Absolutely. But impacting us to the point to where it's like, we're like laid out flat in our feelings is, you know, that is exactly what Bri is saying. It is a trauma response. It's not, and this is why like I can go off on the science on like how we perceive connection as survival. And that's why we have such intense reactions to these things. But man, like, poor thing. I feel bad.
It's been difficult to watch, especially in the later stages, because I'm not going to spoil anything, but some stuff has been going on where she's having difficult conversations with people, or rather they're having difficult conversations with her. And as an objective third party observer, I want her to be able to better hear what they are saying. But because of her trauma and her fear of abandonment and her belief that she is like at her core, not fully lovable, which is insane because she's like a really lovable like character and person, but she's not hearing the expression. Like if one of her guys is saying like, I'm having a hard time with you being on dates with other people at this juncture because I love you. She's not hearing like, that like, hey, I'm having a hard time with this. She's like, I'm feeling pressure to be more for you. And I don't know if I can be more for you. And are you going to leave me because I can't be more for you right now? You know what I mean? And then there's another experience where this person's like, I'm not ready to get engaged. And she's like, I am not lovable. And this person's like, no, I actually really like you. I just don't think that I can be engaged by the end of this week. And she's like, what is it about me that's not lovable? You know what I mean? Like she can't hear what's actually being said to her.
How do I convince you that I'm worth it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard that come out with Logan a bit too, where she was like, when he went to go leave. And that was the first like huge time I got to hear Rachel talk. And I picked up on that because I was like, I don't like the way you're handling this. Because look, like I said, I'm not super trustworthy of Logan either, just based off of what I've seen in the few episodes I've watched so far. But the way that Gabby was assigning what he was trying to say, because he was like, it wasn't that I knew from the get-go that I liked Gabby over you. It's just that now that I've gotten to get you to know you more, I really am solely interested in Gabby. And, she took that as like, you led me on, you played me. And it's like, okay, but you can't make that assumption. But again, I haven't seen what's happened prior to, and I am only still getting to know Logan right now. And
to be fair, I don't know Rachel's emotional backstory and like what her relationship, that the abandonment stuff, that's Gabby's. It's interesting to see that happen later.
Sorry.
That's okay. I figured there was confusion. I wanted to clarify. But with Rachel, it's hard to know if this is a response from the rejection that she's experienced on the show, the rejection from Colton, or like the rejection from everywhere else in other relationships in her life.
So Rachel's from Colton's season.
They're both from Colton's season.
Clayton
so what ended up,
or Colton?
Yeah. Sorry, Clayton.
Okay.
I got us all mixed up.
We got it.
Clayton. They're both from Clayton's season, and at the end of their season, he had sex and said he was in love with all three of his three finalists. And they were like, WTF, we're trying to fight. And they felt slighted and like led on and like really bad. And then it's sort of like the through line that they've carried into the show. It's really weird.
So, yeah, okay. Also, I'm curious to know how much the producers are trying to plant those seeds in her head before these scenes happen, are shot.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been interesting. Anyway, Logan is going to be on Bachelor in Paradise. Did you know?
Oh, no, I did not.
Yeah. He's going to be on Bachelor in Paradise.
I know you've seen more than me, but like, since you have seen more than me, like, what's your opinion of him? Trustworthy or not trustworthy?
I think I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because they don't have enough evidence to say that he's not trustworthy. So I'm going to say that he is.
Okay, cool.
With some reserve. And the reason why is because I think that by the time that he knew that he was truly way more interested in Gabby than he was in Rachel, like the way that their dates were happening, like Rachel kept fucking canceling dates. So he lost an opportunity to have a conversation with Rachel. Now he could have done the like Bachelor's BTS thing where he like went to her. He should have done that. Like he should have like gone to her room and been like, hey, like I can't, if we're going to do a rose ceremony tomorrow, like, or tonight, like, oh, well, anyway, there wasn't enough time. So He didn't talk to her. She extended another rose. He takes it. And then, he gets sick and he has COVID after like one day on Gabby's team. Yeah. So I think what I appreciate that he did was he went to Rachel. He talked to her first. He's like, this is what I'm thinking. I know what I'm risking. I don't know if Gabby feels this way. I just know that I have found myself gravitating towards her. It makes me feel like I can't be here on your side. That wouldn't be fair to you.
Right.
I have to do what I have to do. I might not even get that opportunity with Gabby, but I have to try. That to me says you're willing to risk this, even if it means that you don't get to stay. Mm-hmm. And then he goes to Gabby. He says the same thing. He's like, I don't expect that you're going to give me a shot. I need to try. This is me making an effort to try, and you can choose to do with this information what you will. This is how I feel. And I respect your choice either way. Again, not super manipulative, not super pushy, like we've had a connection. But if you watch those earlier episodes, which you haven't gotten the opportunity to, thank you, Hulu. But if you were able to watch those episodes, you would have seen that he did have a strong, like, early flirtation banter with both of them. However, I do believe that those connections that were established are in part due to the fact that Logan's got game. He's got game. Yeah. The teasers for BIP is he's got a lot of women drooling over him.
Oh, yeah? Mm-hmm. Which I guess means he definitely doesn't win this season.
Oh, no, he's done. He doesn't come back after COVID.
Oh, after COVID. Okay, cool. Poor guy. COVID sucks.
Feel that bad for him. COVID does suck.
True.
COVID does.
That's what I meant about poor guy is COVID sucks.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
COVID. Yeah. Yes. Right.
But yes, you get to go to a beachy, where do they have their fun villa? Yeah. And Wells is my favorite part. I love Wells, but I don't know if he's going to be the bartender. Is he? Because he's married now.
I don't know. That doesn't mean that he still needs employment.
I know, but maybe wifey's like, I don't know. Maybe wifey will make an appearance.
She's had his back.
That's true. I don't know enough about him. I just was like, maybe now that they're married, they're gonna like settle down, and he's like gonna say, "Thanks, Bachelor franchise, bye."
I think that he still needs a job.
Yeah. Well,
this is like
I'm sure being a bartender on VIP is not his only job. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe he makes millions from that one summer, and that's all he has to work.
But you know what? It's like it's his stable. Like they will keep having him back. Like
I love Wells. I had the biggest crush on him when he was a participant. I was like, yes, pick Wells. He's such a cutie.
He's such a cutie. Yeah, right up my alley. That's what I'm most excited to talk about in BIP is like who do we like gravitate towards?
Oh my God, I'm so excited. Especially since they have some of the older folks coming on. It's like I really am just excited to comment on them.
Yeah.
Too.
I want to know like from the get-go, like who would you date? Who would you entertain? Who would you say absolutely no?
Snog,
like,
marry, kill.
Yes.
Snog, marry, pie.
Snog, marry, pie.
I made it. I said kill. That's so true, though, that we Americans have fuck, marry, kill, and the UK is snog, marry, pie, much more friendly and tongue-in-cheek than us Americans. Fuck, marry, kill.
So I've been watching Fuckboy Island, which is something offline I need to tell you a lot about.
God.
But I've been watching Fuckboy Island, and they play, because they're trying not to make it morbid, they play like kiss, marry, ghost, which I thought was kind of cute.
Can we not enable ghosting, though?
I know.
But we also shouldn't enable killing, so...
Yeah. Pick a poison.
Yeah, pick a poison. This is a fun chat.
Yeah.
Are we going to go into the serious shit now?
Let's go into the serious stuff.
Yeah, I guess the poop is what the common thread between all of us is. We got entertaining shit, we got literal shit, now we have serious shit.
And we have serious shit. That's right. Good job. I love that. Oh my God.
Okay.
I feel an episode title brewing.
Yeah, me too.
Much like shit does. And coffee. That helps it.
Yeah. So some fun little questions we pulled for today's episode. One was talking about like quote unquote toxic families. If you're getting married and you have a partner who has a toxic family, and or what happens if you're dating someone and they've cut family members out, is that a red flag? So kind of a loaded, mixed up question, but let's chat on it.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about this conversation is our two unique perspectives. Because you are a dater who you are someone who has dated and are dating in the future, that you don't have some of these relationships with your family, as we talk about here. Yep. And I am someone who is in touch with family, but have also experienced dating people with distant relationships with their family members, and like a whole spectrum of it.
Oh my God, I can't wait to hear your thoughts on what that is, being the other person in the mix. So I mean, like, obviously, my position on this is that if someone's cut out toxic family members, I don't think it's an automatic red flag. I think you need to get curious, and you need to like understand what the dynamic was and how they came to that decision, and just ask really good questions. You know, tell me more about that. What was that like for you? What was kind of the final straw for you to make that decision to cut them out? And see like how intentional it was and how they went about it and what their kind of qualifiers were. Because, you know, from my own experience, I cut this parent out short term, 3 months the first time, and then thought like, okay, now that we've had a break, like it'll be better this time. And it got worse. And then after about 8 months of that, I was like, I made one final request for us to go to therapy together, was met with more verbal emotional abuse. And that's when I said, thank you, wish you all the best. I'm not gonna, you know, deuces. Like, peace. I don't know how else to, so that happened, and now it's been 2 years, and like I've been so much happier, less anxiety, at peace with myself, just like, oh my God, like I can breathe, like I feel like I'm just happier in all the ways.
So it's so interesting, because if I have to imagine, if I don't know you, I'm meeting you in a dating context, you and me, we've been flirting or whatever.
Yes, I love your tats.
Yeah. Ooh,
They're
love
so
yours.
hot.
Oh my God. Do we have the same word tattooed on both of our bodies?
Yes, we do.
Does that mean that we're meant to be? Oh my God.
We're soulmates.
Wow. Upon first meeting, that's so crazy. Whoa.
Yes.
Okay, so we're dating. We don't know each other. And I hear and understand that you are no longer in contact with these family members. It is normal and okay for me to perk up and go, that's interesting, right?
Yeah.
But I recommend that people really, as you mentioned, this magical word, to remain curious, because curiosity about that allows me as the listener to continue to facilitate like a non-judgmental hearing of what's going on. But it also needs to come with respect to you, a brand new person, that, like in my world and me in yours, for you to not have to feel like you need to go into the fucking whole bang-a-lang just to tell me that I should feel okay about this. That's not fair to you, right?
No.
So like but like hearing I'm so much happier. My life is more balanced. I feel calmer. Like, I don't need to know all of your details out of respect for you and your privacy and wanting to share that when you're comfortable, so that I can hear like you're feeling regulated outside of that, after that decision. And that to me is like, okay, now I'm feeling green flags.
Yeah.
Because if I'm honest, what's most challenging for me in dating someone that has, and don't get me wrong, like I'm not absolved of my complicated family relationships. I have my own, but of me dating someone with toxic family dynamics, I have a lot of grace for people who are still in contact with those family members and having a difficult time exploring what life could look like with different kinds of boundaries. However, I find that it's more difficult to be in cahoots with that person while those relationships are still intact and just as toxic as ever. That to me is more of a red flag than the person who's cut out family, from my perspective.
Yeah.
And again, let me say, not a red flag of the person who is just trying to navigate that. It's a red flag of, this might not be good for me.
Right.
I have to clarify that. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's okay. I think that's great. So all in all, get curious. I think something to pay attention to is like how they set it up. Are they talking about, you know, the impact it's had on them, or are they just sitting there saying so-and-so's an awful human being, they're see you next Tuesday? Because like that's also not helpful language either. If they're using language like more factual and not like less emotionally charged, I think that's proof that there's been more healing. Whereas if they're still stuck in this person's, you know, an awful person and they're such a bitch and da 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 and they never da da da, and it's very like complainy instead of intentional, like, well, I made this really difficult decision because of the impact it was having on my life. I think that's something to pay attention to that sheds light on someone's character and like where they are in their own healing.
Yeah.
So toxic families, like if we're gonna like jump forward in this timeline now, Bri and I are engaged, and
I love the idea of that.
Yes. Oh my God, girl. I will put your Metamucil in all the smoothies for you, or however you take it.
Just water chugging down like
it's
a beer, like a cold beer.
It's a cold beer on a hot summer day. Okay, so if we're jumping forward if we're guzzling it, if we're jumping forward in the timeline and now we're engaged, but let's pretend I didn't cut toxic family members out, and Bri is starting to see as we intertwine our lives together that she's starting to get seriously concerned about the influence potentially this family has on both of us now, since she's my partner and soon to be wifey. So if that was the case, what do we do?
Boundaries.
Lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my, yes. Boundaries, 100%. Now, here's the most pivotal thing. If Bri is coming to me, and I'm, again, we still have toxic family members in my life that have a huge influence on me in our relationship. If she's coming to me and she's like, babe, look, I understand the family you come from and I want to remain respectful, and here are my concerns. And I want to know, where are you at? Where are you feeling? How are you on the boundary train? And she comes to me and I give her the response of, absolutely, I'm with you. I also have these concerns. How are we going to navigate it? What boundaries do we want to try? Green ass flag. If I respond and I'm like, they're my family, how dare you have an issue with them? We're getting married and they're going to be your family too, and you need to love them and you need to give grace. And I'm starting to lecture Bri in defensiveness of my family that is really not okay. That is a red flag.
Yes. Thank you for painting that picture. I think that that's so important because, like, again, this is respect to the person who is not, maybe doesn't feel that it's appropriate to fully cut off ties, because that's not the best solution for everyone. It's just not. But they're still navigating, what do boundaries look like in my family dynamics, in my family system that has never had boundaries exist before, or the boundaries that did exist were incredibly problematic to me in my development. So it's just, there's so many different variations of why this could be toxic and complicated. And you still have a partner that is committed to joining life goals with you and moving forward. So how are we going to tackle this as a team is entirely the bottom line that we probably need to have. That doesn't mean that we're always going to feel like we're on the same team, but we need to have effective communicating sessions to make sure we're on the same page as often as possible, and give each other space when we're having an emotional trauma response, really, while trying to navigate it, because there is going to be a lot of protecting going on. Especially, this is very true, if the family dynamics that you are worried about with your partner have some relationship with alcoholism or some sort of substance abuse, it is very typical that someone who is not a substance user themselves, but part of that family system, is likely, out of their patterns with that family, is going to be very protective of the family system and the toxic use. So I think understanding that that's a role that they've probably been playing for their entire lives before they met you is important to have a little bit of awareness of, so that you can understand where they're coming from and why that reactivity is so loud and so quick. It's a defense mechanism. It's for safety. It's for the safety of the entire unit. That doesn't mean that it's something that you want to support and enable and sustain, but like we gotta come from a different place of understanding about it.
Yes, 100%. Really, at the end of the day, it's this concept of teamwork. It's like, is it called doubles or pairs in tennis when it's two people against two people? Doubles.
Yep.
Okay, like if your partner serves up a conversation, you know, like you have to have their back and meeting them there, you know? And so it's like, I know you're not on the opposite side of the net, but my point is that you both, you guys aren't the problem. It's not you against your partner. It's the two of you against the problem, right? So it's like,
Yes.
if we can remain in that mindset throughout the longevity of the relationship, that's really what relationships boil down to. It's you two against the world. And not, I know that's a saying, but like, hear me, it's not always against, like the world's not out to get you. But when life's curveballs come, you know, it is you against the problem. So that's really what all this boils down to at the end of the day. It's like understanding that your partner isn't the threat here. Your partner is not also the threat here.
We can't, if this is something you become aware of while you're early on dating, it's something that you become aware of or are wanting to handle differently later on in your relationship at a more serious point. What we have to remember is that we can't expect anyone, and if we can't expect this from ourselves, we shouldn't be expecting this from other people, to be perfect people.
Oh my God.
We can't expect them to be perfect. If you avoid commitment and being in a serious relationship with someone and you're waiting until you find a perfect person, you will be alone. And if that's what you want, wonderful. But if it's not what you want, trust me, you're not going to enjoy that journey. It's going to be really, really sad.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think, actually, you and I were talking about this before we hit record, and I kind of want to bring this conversation in, but like a lot of people have this unrealistic expectations that the right relationship shouldn't trigger you. Like, I know we talk about like the right relationship won't have conflict. And I think a lot of people hear that and kind of roll their eyes and they're like, yeah, of course, like conflict's always going to happen. But it's like, okay, you can say you understand that, but do you understand that? Or does conflict arise? And even though you say, yeah, of course there'll be conflict in every situation, you still perceive the conflict and you being triggered as an issue that your partner is creating, right? It's like, I think people say like, yeah, sure, I know conflict is always going to happen in a relationship, but it's like, yeah, but do you understand that that's real? Like you will be triggered. You will have times where you're questioning the partnership. Like, are they the right match for me? It doesn't mean yes or no if you question it or if you get triggered. What matters is, do I value this person enough outside of the way they trigger me? Do I value this person enough despite the conflict that we may have? Do they treat me with respect? Are we open to influence with each other? That matters. And, you know, so if you keep searching for a relationship that doesn't trigger you, you're going to keep searching for a long ass time. If you keep searching for a relationship that doesn't have any conflict, you're going to be searching for a long ass time. So it's like, you know, let's be realistic here and, you know, understand what our own self-awareness, again, all comes back to self-awareness. Know what is a deal breaker for you and know what you're open to. Like, yeah, you might not be stoked about it, but you're okay with it, you know?
Yeah. It's so if we're boiling this down here, it's like, if I'm meeting someone and they have challenging relationships with family, maybe they've cut them off, maybe they're still navigating that. I want to see that they have some awareness of the challenges that this imposes on their life. Maybe that's a learning process that they're still in the middle of, but they're not looking to have someone else resolve that or also fulfill the things that they're missing now that they're no longer in contact with these family members. Do they seem responsible for the choice that they have made for their own well-being? And are they responsible to deepen their understanding of how this interferes with their lives and maybe relationship building? Am I set on this person and believe that what we have is good enough to explore? And can we attack what some of these challenges may be from the same side of the court? As per our tennis doubles.
Yes, you know, analogy.
And I think like, if you can find your way to those like starting points every time you come up to something that feels a little difficult, it's got a little bit of traction, you will find that you'll likely be able to get through it, and it's gonna make your relationship better in the long run because you're going to continue to learn about some of these things that affect both of you in your relationship, and that will increase your understanding in future issues.
Yeah, I so agree. Conflict can make a relationship stronger because it's like you just bond over it. It's like, fuck, we
Yeah.
went through that, but look, we did it. We did it together.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and it gets sexier in a way. Like, even though it's like
Mm.
the realities of life aren't always sexy, but if we go through it with the right, understanding and mindset and with a partner that we truly love and appreciate, it's like, fuck, like, it's like, okay, we can do this. Like, we can get through it
Mm-hmm.
together. I love that
Yeah.
about relationships. It's such a wonderful thing.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay. Next question, concept for us to talk about. And I am really excited about this one because this is one that Alex struggles to relate with. So I feel like it's going to be a good, open-minded combo.
Yeah. What is it?
The question is, does anyone else find it rare to be truly attracted to someone? Ooh.
When I hear this question, I imagine what it must be like to walk down a very busy street where there's lots of other people. And very rarely do you find your eyes looking towards someone where you're like, ooh, hot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe you go to like a coffee shop or I feel like there's a plane analogy going on the internet where it's like, are we in love or are you just the only other person that's the same age of me on this flight? Have you heard that at all?
No,
Have you ever
but
felt
I like
way?
that idea. I've definitely felt like, am I into you? Because it's kind of like what we talked about last week. Like, am I into you because like our personalities click, or am I into you because like I'm into you? Like,
Ooh. Is that how you interpret the question?
No.
Oh.
But when you say,
am
I in the plane analogy because we're the same age or whatever, that's like my equivalent, if you will.
Am I into you because we get along, or am I into you because I want to like
because like we actually
dirty?
Yeah, exactly. It's like what capacity is this getting alongness coming from?
Yeah. From what I understand about physical attraction, and I'm not an expert on this, but from what I understand is there's a full spectrum of levels of attraction to other people generally. That means that everyone's attraction to other people is rooted with so many little eons of factors that are not limited to just a physical acknowledgement of, ooh, you're my type of sexy, right?
Yeah.
So I think that media plays a very big role into building this general sense of, I'm putting this in air quotes for anyone who's not seeing this, a standard of we are all attracted to something, and what we're attracted to is like, we're driven by that factor. I'm attracted to what you look like physically. That is true for many people and not everyone. Yeah. I do know that. So when someone asks, does anyone else find that it's rare to be attracted to people? I want to answer and say, not me, but yes.
I'm curious to know, I mean, there's two things that come up. One, how do you define attraction? Because is it the like, ooh, I see someone on the street and I get a boner type attraction? Or what did you call it? A fanny flutter?
A fanny flutter.
Okay.
A fanny flutter.
Yeah, one of those.
Those would be really strong reactions to a
right.
hot
like,
person.
are you expecting that? Like, are you anticipating attraction to feel like that? Or when you say attraction, is it like this, like, ooh, I don't want to stop talking to this person? Cause like, for me, that's attraction, is like, I like talking to people, you know? But, and I mean, there's, like you said before, there's layers upon layers of attraction, because not everyone that I enjoy talking to do I want to fuck either. And not everyone that I want to fuck do I want to talk to. So like, there's a different relation, and I think we need to understand what our needs are with this type of attraction. Like, what are you looking for someone to be attracted to for a romantic relationship that's long-term and monogamous? Are you looking for attraction because of someone you are horny? Are you looking for attraction because you feel lonely and you're looking for connection? Like, what flavor are you looking for? And then shout out to my asexual homies. Sometimes you don't always feel that. And like a lot of people don't need sex to feel connected in a relationship. So maybe this person doesn't maybe necessarily know that about themselves yet. And they're anticipating the like, I should be feeling horny with this person. I should be really attracted to them and want to bang their brains out, but I don't feel that way towards them. So is there something wrong with me? And it's like, no, maybe you're just asexual and you don't have that kind of drive,
Yeah,
like
totally.
there's so many
100%.
different things.
Yeah. I and this might be a version of answering this question that is not exactly what this person is asking for, because like what you just mentioned, there's so many more follow-up questions that you and I would want to ask, which is like, what are you looking for? What does attraction mean to you? How do you recognize attraction when you do find it? What's happening? What's the response? What do you acknowledge? What sends lights up in your brain? And and then what does it make you feel? Right. I would want to know all of those questions. For me, like, I know that I can be attracted to many different kinds of people, not all of them. I am very clear on, but I will say that I have never been a person who like has really, really strong celebrity crushes. So when someone's like, who's your celebrity crush? I like go blank.
Mine changes week to week.
Really? I dissociate. I'm like, I don't know who exists.
Oh my, did I
your
tell
changes?
You? Someone asked me that on a podcast on the spot. It was like their closing question, like, who's your celebrity crush? And I was like, oh my God, like someone I want to marry or someone I want to fuck. And they were like, whatever comes to mind. And I panicked for a moment because like the type of guy I want to marry is like a Seth Rogen type, like a, very 420 friendly entrepreneur, funny guy, really progressive, open-minded, down to earth. Like, if I'm being honest, like, that's the kind of guy I would go after, like, for a long time. But if we're talking banging, like, give me a Ryan Reynolds. You know what I mean? Like, two very different, like, physical
very
types.
Different vibes. Yeah.
But anyway, when you said that, I was like, let me tell you about the one time that someone asked me that on a podcast interview. And I was like,
Yeah. And I wonder what this says about my psyche, but like every time I am asked that question or I think about how I would answer that question, I can only think of what are mainstream examples of celebrity crushes of the moment. Like if I had to answer that question right now, I'd be like, oh, Harry Styles, because he's sort of like many people's celebrity crush right now. That it's, to me, it doesn't even feel like an original thought. It feels like a reflection of culture.
Spoon fed, like this is what's been in front of your face and marketed to you, so this is what's front of mine.
Exactly. So I don't experience, that's why I'm like, it's such a spectrum. Like I also don't find everyone attractive that I would meet out at a bar, or like when I watch shows like The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, and granted, they all show a very specific kind of human, right? Like they fit into these like very beauty standard categories, fit,
Calvin Klein thin, underwear model,
white usually. So it's like, but like even them, I'm like, I'm not attracted to all of these people. Whereas I've watched these shows with other people, it happens to have been with more women, and they're like, oh my God, this person's so sexy.
Yeah.
Like, huh.
Interesting.
I'm not feeling that.
Yeah. Oh, but I'm also thinking of Jason Momoa right now. I would also do Jason Momoa. I love a good man bun.
And you know what? That's a very polarizing feature.
What, the man bun?
When it comes to attraction.
Man bun and forearm tattoos. Ooh, panty droppers for me. Yeah.
She loves them. What's your experience like out in the world with regular civilians like us?
Like, do I find people and I'm like, you're hot?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do sometimes. Like, I'll actually, low-key, I caught myself like doing a quick eye drop at a guy's junk, and I kind of had a moment of shame because I was like, that's the equivalent of someone looking at our boobs, and like, that's not okay. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Yeah, I do. I'll be out and about and like I'll see someone that I think is hot and I'll be like, oh, you're cute. And like that's the extent of it. I'm not like going home fantasizing about them or like trying to like sneak my number over there. But I do. And then when I watch shows, I think, like, I loved Greg on Katie's season. I would have dated Greg. If I was going to pick someone, I'd be like, I would totally go on a date with Greg. 100.
I agree. I would have dated him too.
Okay, so
but you know what I know is true about you and I, and you correct me if I'm wrong about this assumption that I'm about to like group us together on.
Let's do it.
But for you and I, physical attraction has something to do with our experience of being attracted. But it also includes when we get a layer of their
100%,
their humanism, their personality. That's why Greg was so attractive to us because one, he was sweet, but the best times to experience Greg was when he was like being really goofy with the other guys in the house, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm thinking about this guy. Oh, what?
I was going to say that, and the other thing that comes to mind in Andrew from Love Island, this is also why I had a crush on Andrew. They both, like, obviously everyone has their strengths and weaknesses when it comes to conflict resolution, but something they both had that this turns me on in a man. They don't raise their voice when they get upset. They're like, I'm upset, but they weren't like lashing out. They were like, I need time. You know what I mean? Like Andrew never raised his voice to Tasha. Greg never raised his voice to Katie. And like, I really value that because I need someone who's going to make me feel safe. And part of my trauma is being sensitive to being screamed at because that happened a lot. So it's like, I really value that in them. So I just wanted to add that to the personality thing because it's like, I agree with you, like seeing him cuddle, what's the guy with the cat suit? Oh my God. But that's that dude. The guitar guy.
Cameron.
Or something. I don't know. But that guy. Like seeing Greg cuddle him and be funny and like his little bromance is 100%. And then I valued him as a partner and was like, you're partner worthy. When I see men engage in uncomfortable conversations and maintain their sense of self without feeling the need to get explosive.
Yes. That all adds up to what helps you solidify an attraction to someone, which is there's way more weight in that and way more drive for you to be like, ooh, I might want to pursue this person than just seeing someone aesthetically look beautiful to you. Yeah. Out in the street in a passing moment.
Yeah, like I'm not going to go out of my way to be like, you're hot, here's my number. I'm going to go out of my way to be like, you're attractive, let me have a conversation with you. And then if I get a little bit more zhuzh, like, you know, then it's like, maybe I'll give you my number. Yeah.
Right? I am been thinking about this guy that I hit on at an AT&T store that sold me my phone many years ago.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Have I ever told you this story?
No, but can you tell me it right here, right now? Are you comfy?
I'm going to tell you right here. Of course I am.
Oh my God. Guys, buckle up.
The year was 2017.
Classy.
Yeah. The year was 2017. I was on Boylston Street. I was at the AT&T store in Boylston Street in Boston with Olivia, who was visiting from out of town. Yeah. She was visiting from out of town. I needed to get a new phone, and I was being helped by a very cute, tall, blonde, like 20-something. And I was also 20-something, and which I am no longer. And he was like, our banter was like fast, really fast. So I don't think that I noticed that he was cute until I was experiencing how we were connecting on really basic stuff. Like we were obviously talking about the phone, but like we had jokes immediately. And like he would go away to go do something with the phone. And then Olivia would look at me and she was like, what's going on right now? And I was like, I don't know, but I need to see about it. And then I think I had gotten nervous. He helped me with my phone. We were there for a while. And then I left and I didn't do anything. And I got really upset because I kept thinking about him. Like we were shopping nearby and I kept thinking, and I was like, fuck, like I missed my opportunity. And then on my new phone, I get a phone call.
I was going to say, he has your fucking number. Okay.
He has my number. You guys,
love the tea.
Spoiler alert, we're not together. But so it didn't work out. But what I'll say, so he called me and I'm like, this random number's calling me. What's going on? He calls me because I left all of my old phones I left my old phone and the charger for my new phone, like the whole package that it gets sent. I just like took the phone in and left.
Yeah.
Like I left all my shit. He was like, you have to come back and get your stuff if you want your stuff. And I was like, are you still going to be there? And he was like, yeah, but I'm also on my way out. So if you want to come get it from me, you got to like quick turnaround.
Now.
You got to come now. And so I was like, this is my shot. Like, this is my opportunity to redo this. I have to take it. So he met me at the door. He gave me my things. I was like, I got to ask, like, are you doing anything this weekend? Do you want to like hang out? Do you want to do something? And he said basically yes. He was like, I'm busy tonight, but like, yeah, like let's, like, I'll exchange. I have your number. And literally. And we'll do something. And then we went on a couple dates and that was pretty much it. But Olivia and I
did go on a couple dates though.
Oh yeah. We went on a couple dates. We had like a couple steamy makeouts. I did get a text from him, after one of our dates where he was like, I think you're looking for something more serious than I am. And I was like, how dare you? But also, yeah.
Yeah. And thanks for the honesty. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it didn't work out, but I like, why did I bring this up? I just got lost in my own story.
Because you were talking about the banter is what made you realize. Yeah.
So two things that solidify attraction for me, because it's not just enough that you can be like cute and hot and whatever. Like that really doesn't do it for me. I might appreciate you from afar. Actually, I'm more attracted to women in that way where I'm like, I love your whole thing. I don't even want to hear what comes out of your mouth because you are just adorable. Yeah.
That might ruin it. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Like, I don't want, like, let's not talk, but I think that you are adorable. You're so cute. You're aesthetic. Everything's on point.
I feel like that with men sometimes.
Yes.
Don't
touch. Yes.
Let me just lick your abs. Don't open your mouth.
I'll open my mouth. You don't open yours.
Shut it.
Yeah.
Put a gag in there.
So for me, it's just not enough. I need two things. One, how do we get on? Like, do we like feed off of each other? Yeah. And two, I love to see how a person responds to the world. So when you're talking about like watching Greg, like hang out and play with these other guys in the house, I feel the same way about like, how does a guy respond in this like social situation with like a stranger that approaches us? Or a server, like, are they cool? Are they rolling with it? Like, are they being really cold and weird? Like, I want to see how you engage with the world. You don't need to do anything special. Just be yourself. Yeah. What I need to know.
That's why I love doing little social outings. Like, look, 90% of the time I'm a homebody. Like, I'm happy to be home. I'm happy to be watching TV or like, reading or playing a video game or watching reality TV for DTS. But I do value like a good brunch date. I'm like, if I'm going to do dates, I much prefer like daytime dates than nighttime dates. There's something about being home at night that's so cozy for me. The occasional go out at night I'm okay with, but that's not like an every night type thing for me or even weekly. But I say this because I so hear you when you're like seeing them interact with the world and with my friends or whatever. Like I get horny like watching that, because especially obviously if they're good people and they're like having a great conversation and asking good questions, and like I get to kind of sit there and just like watch. I will get off on that. Like, I'm like, yes, I'm proud to be yours and like you to be mine, even though I don't necessarily like the ownership language, but like, I'm proud to have you on my arm. I'm proud to call you my partner. Like, I so value that. And if that's missing in a relationship, which is kind of something I had dealt with my ex, was like, I very much valued that and wanted that, but they were more like, let me stay home and do my own thing. And so I got less of that. And it's like,
it's rejuvenating.
In a way, they shot themselves in their foot.
Like, totally. It's rejuvenating to see. It's really rejuvenating to see like a person that you're interested in or a person that you've been dating for a long time, especially if you share home space with them. It's refreshing to see them out in the world. I want to be super clear that if this is someone new that you're seeing or you're seeing someone new, please don't try to be an extra version of yourself just to make it known that you are a person who is out in the world. You don't need to do extra. If you are extra at your baseline, yes, rock with that. But like, be entirely just yourself. take a deep breath, center with who you are, and like answer your server in like the normal way that you would if you were alone or with a comfortable person. Like, we don't need to be an extra anything of ourselves. Just be you.
Yeah.
I promise it'll
100%. It will. Yeah. 100%. That's it for today, y'all. That's all, folks.
Porky Pig is in the chat.
Sort of. It's not the best impression. But if you like today's episode, leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Take a screenshot, put it on the gram, tag us in your story at Ditch the Script Pod. We love to see it. And then, what else? If you want your question answered, or if you want a free 30-minute mini session with Bri and I, go to our website, ditchthescriptpod.com, and submit your question or application. And that's it.
Yeah,
peace and love.
That is it.
We love you guys.
Peace. Oh, we haven't done peace and love in a while. Peace and love.
Well, we're doing it right now. Peace and love.
Peace and love. Bye.
Okay.